Is it legal to record a FaceTime conversation without the other person's consent?
Hello everyone. In today's digital age, we communicate more and more through digital platforms such as FaceTime. But an important question often comes up. Is it legal to record a FaceTime conversation without the other person's consent? Let's explore this topic in depth, as it touches on a lot of complex issues, including privacy rights and laws.
Understanding consent.
First, we need to understand the concept of consent. In general, consent means that all parties involved in a conversation are aware and agree to be recorded. The necessity of obtaining consent before recording a conversation depends on whether you are in a one-party or two-party consent jurisdiction. In a one-party consent jurisdiction, you can record a conversation as long as you are a part of that conversation, even without the other person's consent. However, in a two-party consent jurisdiction, consent must be obtained from all parties involved in the conversation.
One-party versus two-party consent jurisdictions.
Now, let's talk more about these two types of jurisdictions. In the U.S., whether it's legal to record a FaceTime conversation without the other person's consent can depend largely on the state you're in. Some states, like New York and Texas, are one-party consent states, which means only one person in the conversation, in this case, the recorder, needs to consent to the recording. Other states, like California and Florida, are two-party consent states, where everyone in the conversation needs to give consent. Remember, this also applies when people are in different states. If you are in a one-party state but the person you're FaceTiming with is in a two-party state, you need to comply with the stricter, two-party consent law.
Federal law and international considerations.
On a federal level in the U.S., recording conversations falls under the one-party consent rule, but again, state laws may override this if they require two-party consent. If you're calling someone outside of the U.S., it becomes even more complex. You should be aware of international laws concerning consent for recording conversations, as they can vary widely.
What happens if you don't get consent?
If you record someone without their consent in a jurisdiction that requires it, you could potentially face criminal charges or civil lawsuits. This can result in hefty fines or even jail time, depending on the jurisdiction and the specifics of the case. So, to wrap it all up, whether it's legal to record a FaceTime conversation without the other person's consent largely depends on the jurisdiction you and the other party are in, and whether it's a one-party or two-party consent jurisdiction. When in doubt, always get consent. It not only avoids legal complications, but it's also a respectful practice that values and upholds the privacy of others. Thank you for tuning in today, and remember, let's strive for transparency and respect in all our digital communications.